Y'all know what time it is. The Brothers Got Next. Best time of the week. Best day of the week. As always, I'm joined by my boy, Kwab. What up, man?
What's up, man? I like that. Yo, your hoodie game is kind of fire, man.
Yeah, listen, bro. I got to thank H&M.
You got the goat hoodie on.
Yeah, man. I'm not a fashionista, but, I do what I can. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I think people would disagree with that. I think you're definitely into fashion.
I mean, Jordans, yes. I'm not like, you ain't gonna catch me at Fashion Week in Paris or New York, but yeah.
Hold up, though. I think you're underrating yourself, man. Because let's not forget in college. We're
college, though.
No, hold on. I'm going to tell you what I mean. We're going to take it way back. You were kind of the first cat to start rocking the button-ups, because no, being real, I know Jay-Z had the song about it,
right.
But like,
I mean, that's where I got it from.
You really embraced it, though, and everybody was like, "Oh, okay, we might have to start." You know what I'm saying? You were sipping on wine when all of us were still drinking beers. You're on some grown man, some of that grown man-ish, as one of our old colleagues used to say.
Okay, so you can't, and I will say, I'll give you credit. You can get on me because I did. Remember when I said I wouldn't give into certain fashion trends, and I did, and you said I would.
You definitely did.
I did give into rocking the nerdies.
Yeah, those are the nerdy the certain nerdy glasses with no frames. But did they have frames?
No, they didn't have frames.
No, not frames. I mean lenses. Did they have lenses?
Lenses. Yeah. And then I will say this. No. One traction I never wore the skinny jeans.
Yeah, you never wore skinny jeans.
I wore fitted jeans, but not skinny. Not the ones that were I didn't wear skinny jeans. So I
with skinny jeans, they just don't people thought they were comfortable. They don't look comfortable.
Nah, they don't, and they look very suspect. They're very sus. Like
I'm also just too big for skinny jeans. I don't feel like it look right
agree.
On me.
Yeah, my thighs are too big for that. So I'm good. Yeah, so I never gave into skinny. That's the only fashion trend I never gave into was skinny jeans. But every other fashion trend, you're right. I at least dabbled. I always at least tried.
Yeah, you dabbled a little bit.
I did dabble a little bit.
You were experimental.
I was, and I think that's the New York in me because New York. I feel like New York and LA, we're like the fashion trend. We're the two that always set like the fashion tone for the country. So it's like, yeah. I mean, I always embrace and I was always open to trying new fashion trends. Like again, not skinny. Certain things like that they have at Fashion Week. Remember we used to send each other stuff. I'm not wearing some of that stuff. Like some of that stuff I'm not wearing that going to the store. Like it's a good thing. I never got into the nothing against anybody. We're not against the LGBTQ community, but I was never into wearing the skirts when Kanye.
Oh, like kilts and skirts and all.
Yeah, I'm good on that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, nothing against the LGBTQ community. You know what I'm saying? I love them, but. Nah, bro. I'm not doing it. It's just certain stuff I'm not rocking.
Yeah, I mean, you simply just don't like the way it looks on you.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's interesting now though. Like we don't go out often anymore, but whenever we do, especially in Vegas, we rock suits when we go out, and that still hasn't really caught on in Vegas. Because when we go out, we're always the only ones for the most part, kind of dressed up like that.
I remember when we went to your bachelor party, we went to that club. And we had the section. I felt like we were the only ones right. I didn't want to say I felt out of place, but I mean, obviously we were older too. I'll put that out.
Right.
But I did notice that. I was like, why are we the only ones suited and booted? Everybody else is kind of polo. Some people had t-shirts on. I'm like, long. So I'm like, what happened?
I don't think the dress codes are as strict as when we were in college. Remember, you always had to have the certain types of shoes on, like a collar shirt. I think now you can rock a t-shirt. I've seen people in the club with sneakers on.
Yeah. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. So I did once. When I was in my early 30s, I did the whole blazer t-shirt under it. You know what I mean?
I still like that look. It's comfortable.
Yeah. So I'll rock the t-shirt with a blazer, some jeans. You know what I mean? Some nice shoes. And now I did wear some sneakers once. You know what I mean? A couple times. I was like, okay. Like I said, I'll always embrace new trends. I feel like now the trends is kind of going back to the 90s now because you see a lot of people wearing baggy stuff now.
Yeah, you do see that.
The loose fit, remember the fitted and the kind of the loose fitted, that's kind of gone now. And now people are going back to the baggy jeans or baggy pants and baggy shirts. Yeah, that's the new thing now, So, how fashion is, man. Everything kind of always comes back around. That's how it is.
I think so. I mean, I remember when bell bottoms made a little comeback when we were in high school. You know, when high, yeah. So like you said, everything kind of cycles.
Yeah, my mom used to tell me all the time, like I'll be thinking I'm cool when I was young, and I'm like the new I was like the fashionista. She was like, man, we wore that back like in the 60s or 70s. Like, yeah, and then she was right though. Like it just fashion always comes back around. So, it was never afraid to experiment and, try new things. But I feel like those days for me now over. Now I just want to be comfortable, bro. Now my fit is like a hoodie, sweatpants, and some slides. I'm good. Like that's the most comfortable for me.
Yeah, that's the most comfortable. But I've always enjoyed dressing up, like going out date night, going out with the fellas.
Yeah, for sure. I'll do that. Yeah, when I go with my wife and date night, yeah, of course I'll dress up. But
yeah, it's rare to go out with the fellas anymore. But when we do, it's always nice to get a little suited and booted,
Yeah, but I'm all about comfortability now, bro. Like even in the summer, I'm more basketball shorts. You know what I'm saying? Ankle socks, maybe some slides, and a nice, like not a workout or a workout shirt, but yeah, just a comfortable, maybe like a t-shirt. You know what I mean? Yep. T-shirt. Yeah, that's my comfortability. So yeah, 40s now. I'm all about comfortability, man. Yeah, I ain't really thinking about the fashion trends, but
all about that comfort level.
Yeah, but how you doing, man? What's been going on?
Not much, man. Just enjoying life, bro.
I hear you.
Enjoying life. The wife is doing well, which most married people will tell you. If the wife is doing well, of course it's important that you're also doing well. But if the wife is doing well, man, it makes things good. So
there you go. That's true.
Wife is doing pretty good. I do have some pretty big news. I don't know if you heard about this, D, but I am going to be taking my talents over there. I still wasn't really feeling that LeBron.
No, that was so corny. I still think that was one of the corniest events, whatever you want to call it. One of the corniest times of all time. Yeah, dog, that was so corny. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, that wasn't.
I was never a big fan of that.
But yes, I am taking my talents to Los Angeles. I'm moving back to California.
Going back home.
A new opportunity presented itself. So we will be making the move to the West Coast. Who knows how long?
Yeah.
Temporary, but yeah, we'll see, man. That's been home, and that's
of course. And we still gonna continue to do the pod. Don't worry, dude.
Yeah, the pod
ain't going nowhere. Nah, I ain't going nowhere. But man, I'm happy for you, bro. I mean, I know when you told me the news, kind of when it was leading up to everything, and everything was kind of in the works, and behind the scenes in the background. I know you couldn't really tell a lot of people, but yeah, man, I knew it would happen. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm happy for you.
Did you? You assumed the West Coast would always happen again?
Yeah, I figured, look, I know that was always your dream to go back. And I always said to myself, me and you've been close friends for a while. I had the great opportunity to go back home. After I graduated, I stayed in Vegas for a year, got to go back home, work. I actually got to go back home multiple times, back to New York. So it's a blessing, man. Now I'll probably never go back home, but I always go back to visit. Obviously, my pops is there, my goddaughter and godbrother's there, and I still go back and visit. But as far as living there, yeah, I mean, I'm good on living in New York. I did it as an adult. I lived there as a kid.
You put in your time, man.
Yeah, I did it as a teenager. I've done every phase, and I'm in a good spot now. So especially I'm married now. So life is a lot different. Maybe if I was single, who knows? I may still be there. I may still be there. No, well, supposedly, according to a lot of our friends, I might be following you. They'll be like, "Oh, so Darian comes."
Yeah, what about Darian?
Like no, well,
people are going to be commenting on this part of the pod, like, "Oh, is Darian going to LA too?" Like, no, he's not going. Yeah, it's the thing people always used to do. Whenever one of us would move, they would ask the person moving about, like, me or Darian. So like if I was moving, they'd be like, "Oh, what about Darian?" It's like, well, what? We're adults.
Yeah, we're married, and like we have to make this. It's not just about us anymore; it's about them too. So yeah, like, no, I'm good, man. Like I said, no, I think I'm happy for you. Just like I said, I know you always want to go back home, and it's always great to go back home. Yeah, who knows for how long? Obviously, life comes at you fast.
Yeah,
things happen unexpectedly. I'm assuming you're gonna be there for good, but who knows? I know things come up. Whether it's, job, life, and things happen. And sometimes, listen, man, I know, look, as we get older, as we evolve as human beings, you change. You know what I mean? You're not going to be the person you are now. You may not be 10 years from now. So you may have different thinking. You may say like, you know, it was good to be back home, but maybe I'm ready to make another move. You know what I mean? Or, you know, you have a wife, obviously. Who knows what she has on the horizon in the future? You know what I mean? So
yeah, and we also love Maryland too. So
so I never want to say never. I mean, like I said, I always tell all my friends, you know this, Kwab, do what makes you happy and do what is best for you financially. I always say that. Do what makes you happy, but always do stuff that makes financial sense. You know, we all have dreams to live wherever. Shoot, me and Ellie want to live in Hawaii, but we ain't got the coins for that right now. So you know what I mean?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment, right? Yeah, but that's my dream, to go to Hawaii and just live there for the rest of my life until whenever. But right, you know, of course, reality is, you know, can't do that right now. You know what I'm saying? So
in due time, you'll have the freedom to do whatever you guys want to do. Maybe whether it's staying in Maryland, move into Ghana, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? I might move overseas. Yeah, because you know, me and the wife have talked about that. I'm actually open to that as I get older. So yeah, I never say never. You know what I mean? Like I said, you and your wife do what makes you happy and what makes financial sense, and you go from there. But
yeah, we'll see.
For right now, I'm happy for you. You know, I'm sure it's gonna be great being back home, being close to the family. You know, I'll be there sometime next year. Don't know when, but
I thought it was this year. But all right.
No, well, obviously, you know, we'll see you guys when we're coming back from a trip, as you know, we talked about. But yeah, I don't know about this year as far as for the rest of the year, but
man, we'll see. I'm gonna remain optimistic.
Got you. Yeah, who knows? Maybe doing a live show from LA.
I know, that'll be dope.
When we go out of Staples Center. No, I'm sorry, at the Crypto Arena.
Crypto.com Arena. That's people don't even like calling it that.
Yeah, that's such a whack name. But yeah, maybe we could, you know, grab some chairs, set up a table in front, and do a show from there.
Do it when the game is going on in the back of us. Like there's a game. Like, yeah.
Yeah, we could do it. We could do it like a Kings game's going on, not a Lakers game. Like a Kings game, yeah. But nah, man, I'm happy for you, bro. And yeah, I'm sure everything will work out how it's supposed to work out. You know?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, we're excited. It's SoCal, man. You know, I've always had love for SoCal. It's 75 right now. So
yeah,
we'll see what the future holds. But I'm just thankful to have a real, you know, wife is super supportive, and you know, she's looking forward to something a little different. And we'll see how long it is. We don't know. We don't know. We'll see.
Gotcha. All right, man, let's get down to the nitty-gritty to business now. We got the
NBA.com Arena.
There you go. Right. Yeah, we got the NBA playoffs where they actually already kicked off in the last, you know, couple nights.
The play-in.
We're obviously filming this on a Thursday. Tonight, I think it's the 8th seed playing game. So obviously tonight we'll know who the 8th seeds are. But yeah, man, let's start. We're gonna give like a preview. We're gonna give our thoughts on every matchup and, you know, how many games and why. So we're gonna start off in the East, man. Obviously, it's the winner of the Heats and Hawks will play the Cavs.
Well, Heat/Hawks versus Cavs. Okay.
Right, right, because they play. It's the Heat and the Hawks, right, for the 8th seed. Right, they the winner of that will play the Cavs. So just give me an early prediction of that. You know, obviously we don't know who's gonna win, but do you give either one of the teams a chance?
No, I don't.
You don't. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
No. I have high expectations. Yeah, I have high expectations for the Cavs. They were one of the best teams in the league. I mean, this is the first 60-win season they've had without LeBron on their roster. So they've done a good job of Kenny Atkinson is, in my opinion, coach of the year. There's a lot of different candidates, but in my opinion, Kenny Atkinson's a coach of the year. When you have the combination of Evan Mobley, you know, why am I blanking on the star guy's name? Help me out.
Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell, thank you. So when you have Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell,
Darius Garland,
yeah, they have such a nice flow offensively. They do a lot of things really well. They're a good defensive team, and I just think the Heat. You know, yes, I like Tyler Hero, and Bam Adebayo's a little up and down offensively, but I just don't think the rest of their roster is ready for that type of challenge. And you know, I think the Cavs could even sweep. I think it's a quick series, maybe 5 max. But when the Cavs are rolling on all cylinders, bro, they're extremely tough to beat, and they're a team that can definitely go to the finals. So I expect Donovan Mitchell to have a big series, which he's been known to do in the playoffs. He's had a couple of 50-point games in the playoffs. So I expect that to continue. I don't think the Heat, who I think are going to eventually end up playing the Cavs, I don't think they're going to have enough. And we've seen the Heat struggle throughout the season. I mean, believe they went on a 10-game losing streak not that long ago. So
right.
You know, Spoelstra has always proven he's a good coach, but I think Spoelstra just really lacks the talent. You don't have Jimmy Butler anymore to, you know, shout out to Jimmy Butler who dropped 38 with this. Like, man, that playoff Jimmy's a real thing, man. So
yeah,
I like the Cavs in 4. I think it'll be a quick series, regardless of who they play between those two teams.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on it. I think maybe he can get one game, like Tyler Hero goes off like he did the other night and drop 30-something points. But yeah, even at that, I think the Cavs can still, you know, win a game with him doing that. You know what I mean? So yeah, though I can only see maybe the Heat getting one game. I guess we're already saying the Heat going to beat the Hawks.
I'm not really feeling the Hawks.
Okay, let's just for the sake of argument, let's say the Hawks do win tonight. Now that one I believe is a sweep. I think the Hawks have.
I think it's a sweep either way.
Yeah, I know you say either way. I think that he can at least get one game. I think the Hawks have zero chance. If the Hawks somehow win tonight, they'll get swept for sure.
Yeah, I don't
even care what Trae Young does, or you know, yeah, they'll get swept. But yeah, I think we're on the same page on this one. I mean, Cavs will advance pretty easily. Yeah,
I feel like with the Hawks, like I like Trae Young. He can be a little erratic at times.
Mm-hmm.
Zachary Rizache, I think it's Rizache. He's had a pretty good rookie year. Kind of kind of one of the more underwhelming number 1 overall picks when he was the number 1 overall pick. Everybody's like, wait, who's he? But
right.
He's had a decent season, but the Hawks are just kind of the same. They've been the same for a while now. Like they'll be like the 8th seed. They'll be a little feisty.
Mm-hmm.
It won't be like an easy out. There's no shot they win the series though.
No. Like I said, I'm with you. I think if the Hawks end up winning tonight, Hawks have no chance. That's a sweep. I give the Heat at least one game. I think the Heat, like I said, Hero showed the other night. If he can go off at 38 or get 30 in a game, yeah, they may squeak one out maybe in Miami doing that, but they're not going to win any in Cleveland. I don't see that.
Yeah,
so I'll give him a game.
Yeah, I don't see
maybe a gentleman's sweep. You know what I mean? I can see if it's Miami, but if it's the Hawks, it's definitely a sweep.
Yeah, I think it's quick.
Yeah.
Either way.
All right, let's go to the next matchup. Now, this one, I definitely want to get your thoughts because I might shock you with my prediction with this one.
Okay.
The Orlando Magic and at the Boston Celtics. Obviously, it's 7-2. Orlando won their playing game to become the 7 in the face of the Celtics. What is your prediction on this one and how many games and why?
Another quicker series, in my opinion. I think it could go 5 because when you have the combination of Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner, I think those two guys can carry a squad to at least one win. I mean, if they can give you a combined 60 points any given night. So, but once again, the Celtics are just too deep. I mean, they're the deepest team in the league, in my opinion. I mean, even if you go deeper on their bench with Pritchard, who's probably going to win 6th Man of the Year, Derek White, just some of the other guys besides their star guys, besides Tatum and Jaylen Brown. You have so many other dudes that can step up and hit big shots. We know the veteran presence that Al Horford is going to bring. Porzingis is healthy, which is big because he brings that other level. He takes that offense to another level, and he's an underrated shot blocker too. So he can do a little bit on the defensive end if you need him to. I'm not saying you could count on him all the time defensively, but
right.
At least he's that big presence on defense. Yeah, I don't think this is I think the Magic will make the games close, but I don't think that means they'll win the games. So yeah, I'll go the Celtics in 5 here.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to disagree with you on this one. I think this goes 7, but I think the Celtics win in 7.
Oh, 7? Wow.
Yeah, I think it goes 7. I think we're underrating the Magic. I think the Magic are better than we think they are. I don't know if you looked at they're first of all, they're very, very good at home. Very good at home. So I can see in a scenario where they win all the home games. Like it's going to be a home game. Remember, they took I know it was the 4-5 matchup last year. Remember, they took Cleveland to 7 games, and it was all they both took care of business at home.
Yeah, the Magic were better last season. They had a better record at least.
They had a better record. They did. Yeah, and I like their coach. I like Powell. Like I said, I like Franz. I think they're an underratedly good defensive team. Like I said, they're really good at home. I like I said, I can see the series going. I think the Celtics. I'm with you as far as who wins the series. I don't think the Celtics will lose the series, but I think the Magic pushed them at least to 7 to the brink. But the one thing I will say, with all that being said, I think the games that the Celtics win, especially at Boston, will probably be blowouts.
Okay, so you think the home court is what's going to lead these guys?
Yeah. I think when it comes to for instance, if it gets to 7th game, Boston's probably going to blow them out. But I think the games in Orlando will be closer. But I could see Orlando squeaking those games out just because they're at home.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Every team could win their home games.
Yes, I do. I think it's a little. I think it's. I'm not gonna. I'm definitely not gonna say the Magic gonna win the series, but I'm gonna give them a little more than just a gentleman's sweep. I think listen, I could be wrong, but a lot of the analysts I've been watching and predicting, a lot of them at least have it going 6. You know what I mean? A lot of them are predicting Celtics in 6. So, which shows me that they are seeing the Magic are capable of, you know what I mean, giving the Celtics some trouble.
Giving them a little run.
Yeah, give them a little run. Yeah, I'm not saying they're going to win the series again, but again, they can give them a little run. So if this series to go 7, I don't think people should be shocked. You know what I mean? But I think the Celtics pull out Game 7, and it'll probably be a blowout. You know what I mean?
Now, I don't know how much you think regular season matters. Everybody's kind of different with that, right? Like some people think the matchups in the regular season matter, but and it's an indication of how well you're going to play in the series.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting though. Orlando did beat. They only played each other 3 times. It wasn't 4 times, but Orlando beat them 2 out of the 3 times in the regular season.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
How much does that matter though?
Yeah, I don't take regular season into account because I've been in my younger days, when I was a teenager and even in college, I used to think the regular season was a big indicator of what was going to happen in the playoffs. But I learned my lesson when the Lakers would play Portland or when they played Sacramento.
Right, and they would
y'all would be kind of dominated by them in the 3-1 or 4-0. And I'm like, ooh, I don't know. If they play them in the playoffs, there might be trouble. And then come to playoffs, y'all winning 7. So that's what I'm saying. I think this is one of those times where, yes, they did beat them 2 out of the 3, but let's not get confused like they're going to win the series. It can go 7, but they probably going to lose in 7 games and get blown out.
I like this though. So you think this is not going to be one of them easy series?
No, it's not. Like I said, I think every home team, every home game will be won by the home team.
Gotcha.
Like I said, I think the Celtics ones will be blowouts, but I think the Orlando ones could be closer, but they'll squeak it out. You know what I mean? It can be, high 90s, low in the hundreds. Because I'll tell you this: if it's that type of game in any of those games, I think the Celtics need to be worried. You don't want a team just hanging around and keeping it close. You know what I mean? But if they do that on the road, that's different. That's fine. Because I think you got to take care of business at home. If you're the Celtics, blow them out every time you play them at home. You know what I mean? It should be by 15, 20 points. You should be winning.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see, man. It's going to be a series. Yeah, like I said, I don't think I think it's going to be a 5-game series, but I don't think it's going to be an easy 5-game series. I think the games will be battles because the Magic are a very feisty team. They're not going to go out like suckers.
Gotcha. Side note, before we get to the next game, I saw you sneak that wine. I like that. I like the little wine.
I didn't think I was sneaking it. I thought it was.
Yeah. What kind of wine is that? Is that Malbec or Merlot?
I don't know.
Neither.
My wife is a big wine. Knows wines well. I just see a bottle and I pour it.
There you go.
I just know it's red.
You got me one. I may have to do one after the show. You know what I mean?
Man, why not? I know it's not Friday yet, but whatever.
But this next series, man, I think it's going to be good. I actually think this is going to be probably the most fun series out of everything. I think we're going to see a lot of technical fouls, a lot of heated. We got the Pistons and the Knicks.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
I think it's going to be real good. Tell me your prediction, how many games and why and who wins.
I'll go with the Knicks in 6. I'm pretty comfortable saying that. I do think they'll be entertaining games. My only issue with the Pistons is the lack of inexperience in the postseason.
Right.
Cade Cunningham is a really good, obviously young star.
First-time All-Star this year.
Yeah, my only problem with them is they don't. There's a bit of inconsistency after him as far as scorers go. Like Malik Beasley's good, but he's a 16 point per game-ish guy. Jaden Ivey, I can't really count on Tobias Harris. I mean, we've seen a lot of him.
I'm tired of Tobias Harris. I'm just trying to hear his name sometimes.
That's my problem with the Pistons, right? Once again, good defensively at times, but they don't lack the firepower I think you'll need to beat the Knicks, who have a couple guys that can go off on you. Whether it's, I love Jalen Brunson, big fan of him.
Got
Karl
OG.
Anthony Towns. Yeah, you got Karl-Anthony Towns, who I think is going to have a pretty big series. He's turned into a, he's been a really good shooter, but he's turned into one of the better rebounders, and he's a much better rebounder now. He's always been a good rebounder, but I just think the combination of Cat and then OG Anunoby is playing really well. I don't see the Pistons winning any games in New York. It's just going to be tough to win there. The energy of Madison Square Garden. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good series. Meaning like the games will be a little closer because the Pistons are a feisty team. But I think the Knicks win this one in 6.
Yeah, Isaiah Maxwell is such a wild card. I'm just really interested to see what he brings to the series because he's a combination of kind of Draymond and the Dylan Brooks. He's a great rebounder, great defender. He's going to talk a lot. He's going to do some dirty plays. You're going to see him do some sneaky.
You need guys like that on your squad, man.
You do. And I love it. And that's playoff basketball. I love playoff basketball because that's the physicality. I think this is going to be the most physical series out of any series you see probably in the whole playoffs. Is going to be this series. But as far as who wins, I'm with you. I think the Knicks win it, and I'll go with you when you're 6. I don't think it's going to be an easy 6 though. I think it's kind of like what you said with the Orlando series. Like they'll win, the Celtics win in 5, but it's not going to be easy. I think the Knicks win in 6, but these games are going to be close. I don't see any. Maybe the Knicks win one game as a blowout, but even in New York, I think that all the games will be close. I still think the Knicks pull it out. Like you said, it's going to be tough for Detroit to win in Madison, especially during playoff time. That energy. I mean, we saw it last season. It's rocking in there, and it's going to be tough for the Pistons, especially like you said, the inexperience to come in there and win playoff games in New York. So yeah, but I'm with you. I think the Knicks are capable of at least getting one in Detroit to you know what I mean, to not make it go 7. So I'm with you. I think Knicks winning in 6. And like you said, too much firepower on the Knicks side. Whether it's Brunson, OG, Cat. You still got Mikal Bridges, even though he's more of a defender, but he can score as well.
Yeah, he can score too.
Josh Hart somehow, even though he kind of does everything in the playoffs, he kind of brings
clutch, man.
He does.
So, they just have too many too many, man.
Yeah, like you said, the Pistons are really just counting on Cade Cunningham to kind of
carry them.
I
don't see a scenario where the Pistons win the series at all.
No, I don't.
So unless there's a major injury, and the thing is, like Jalen Brunson's still kind of coming back from injury, and I think we're going to see him be the Jalen Brunson that we know. So, yeah, I expect the Knicks to handle biz, man.
Gotcha. All right, last series of the East, we got the Bucks and the Pacers. Rematch of last year's first round. Now, this is the funny one before you get to your prediction. So, last year, Giannis was out, and Dame had to carry the team.
Yeah.
Now, Dame's out, and Giannis has to carry the team. How much to you does that factor in with the Bucks? Do you see a different scenario than last year because now it's Giannis carrying the team than Dame, or do you think it's going to be pretty much the same as last year?
Yeah, I think not having Dame is a big blow, especially offensively, because Dame is not a great defender. So it's not like, especially perimeter defender. They're not a great perimeter defending team in general, the Bucks, but
right. They're not a very good coach team either, but that's another story.
Yeah. No, I just think I think Giannis is going to get his because he's going to get his regardless of who they play.
Right.
There's no real way to defend Giannis because he's still one of the guys that loves to play bully ball, which I love. But I don't think they have enough firepower to beat a really good Pacers team. Like the Pacers have been good for a couple of years now with Halliburton leading that squad, and Pascal Siakam is another player that I really think is one of the more underrated players in the NBA. He has been for a while now. He's been an all-star a couple of times. I like the Pacers. I like their chemistry. They've been together as a unit for a bit, quite a few years now. They got all the way to the conference finals last year. And I just think the Bucks are too shorthanded, and I don't trust their coach, man. I'm going with the Pacers. I think this is a long series, though. I think this could be the Pacers like in 7 because I think Giannis and Bobby Portis coming back is going to be a pretty important factor. So I'm gonna say the Pacers win this in 7.
Yeah. So last year, I believe the Pacers won in 5 last year because obviously it was just Dame carrying the whole squad. Giannis is obviously a better player, and I agree with you. They still need Dame to kind of win the series. Even though Dame's not a great defender, but I think Giannis can improve it to where it can at least go 6 instead of 5 like it did last year. So I see more this series going probably like in 6. I'll give the Pacers in 6. The only thing that concerns me about the Pacers is they have the same issue they had last season. They don't play good defense. Like they literally just run up and down the court. They let you score it, and they just try to score very quickly. It's just not a recipe to win a championship. Now, remember, they got to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. I don't know if that's going to happen this year. I think it's going to be a lot tougher road this year. But I do see them winning this series. And like you said, Dame being out's huge. So I don't see it going 7. I think Indiana wins it in 6. I think, what's going to happen is, the Pacers will win their 2. The Bucks will win their 2. Then probably like in that 5-6 game, you'll see the Pacers take a 3-2 lead, and they'll probably end it in 6,
Yeah, I think for the Pacers too, like what are the role players going to do, right? Because they don't have any like explosive scores. Like Siakam can give you 20-ish a game.
Right.
Halliburton, the same 18 to 20 a game. What are the Obi Toppins going to do? What are the Andrew Nembhards going to do? What are those guys? Some of those X factors. What are they going to do? And I think they're going to be able to kind of do enough with a offensively shorthanded Bucks team. So,
right. No, I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you. Like I said, the only thing that concerns me if they were to kind of slip up and somehow lose this series, which would be crazy, is because they don't play defense. Like I said, they're one of the worst defensive teams in the league. So, like you said, I agree. Giannis is going to get his. Giannis is probably going to average 30 in this.
100%.
Yeah, he's going to average 30 easily, like in this series. But I just don't think Giannis has enough help. Like you said, Bobby Portis coming back is good, but he's not going to give you 20. He's more of a 10 to 15 kind of guy. Gives you good rebounding. Yeah. Sometimes can give you good, defense. Same thing with Lopez. They just don't have the firepower. And then Kuzma, Kuzma's to me like a third, fourth option. He ain't really
too inconsistent, man.
Exactly.
He'll give you 21, then give you like 7.
Exactly. There you go. Right. So he's not going to be enough. Like I said, I think it won't be 5 like last year. They're good enough to at least get one more game than they did last year, but I don't even see them going 7. The Pacers should win in 6. Because
I honestly feel like I would like the Pacers even if Dame was there.
You would? Okay.
Yeah, I feel like I still would, man. The Bucks I don't know, man. They're just too inconsistent, man.
I agree.
It starts with the coach. It starts with the head coach, man.
That's true. All right, man. We're gonna shift to the West. So we'll start with the 1-8 matchup. So obviously it's the Mavs or the Grizzlies versus the Thunder. So before we get to just the series, who do you like tomorrow night between Mavs and Grizzlies? And who do you think has the better chance to give the Thunder at least a competition in the series?
Probably the Grizzlies. I like the Grizzlies to win, and I also think they'd be the tougher matchup.
Yeah. Now, as far as let's say it is Grizzlies, Thunder. Who you guys?
Yeah, I hate that the Grizzlies fired their coach too, man. I think that was very premature. I understand that they were slipping a little bit, but I just don't agree with we talked about this. I won't repeat myself too much about firing coaches late in the season. I'm not a fan of it. The Grizzlies are interesting too, right? Because we're not seeing the same level of scoring we're used to seeing from John Morant. But there's guys like Desmond Bane. What's he gonna do? I think the key in this series is how
does Jaren Jackson have? I'm sorry to interrupt. Is Jaren Jackson healthy?
I believe so.
Yeah, he's healthy, right? Okay.
Yeah. So they still have the weapons. They just got to find ways to consistently put it together. And I think sometimes the Grizzlies look very undisciplined. So
it can be underwhelming.
Yeah, they just don't with the amount of talent they have. I'm not saying they're like absolutely loaded, but they have some good scores on that team. You just wish you'd see a little more consistency. But I think the Thunder also make very quick work. I think it's a sweep. Wow, I don't think the Thunder have any issues against the Mavs. The Mavs or the Grizzlies.
I'll let you see first. Yeah, well, let me just say this. If the Mavs somehow beat the Grizzlies, they have zero chance. That's a sweep for sure. That's a zero chance.
Zero chance as far as we know they won't win the series. Zero chance as far as winning a game?
Yeah, I think it's a sweep. I think it's an absolute sweep. Like, they're going to get blown out maybe in every game.
70 games, man. The Thunder were legit one of the greatest regular season teams of all time.
Nobody talks
to them like that, but dude, they won almost 70 games.
Now, I'm going to disagree with you. I think I'm going to give the Grizzlies at least one game. I think the Grizzlies are good enough to win one. I don't see it going 6 or anything. Like, if they get 2, I'd be shocked if they even get 2.
A 5-game series match.
Yes, it should be a gentleman's sweep with the Grizzlies because even if the Grizzlies got 2 games, I'd be impressed. Like, oh, wow, you gave to the number 1 seed. Like you said, the Thunder one of the greatest regular season teams, right? I mean, we've seen. So, yeah, if they were to even get 2 games against the Thunder, I'd be impressed. But I think they can at least get one, so it'd be like a gentleman's sweep. But the Mavs, zero chance. I think that's a sweep. Every game's probably a blowout by the Thunder. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But either way, I'm with you. I think that no matter what, the Thunder make quick work or whoever it is, and they move on.
Yeah, and the Grizzlies, like I said, they're much deeper than the Mavs are. I mean, the Mavs, outside of AD, who are you really like? Oh man, watch out for him.
Right.
Ooh, yeah, like the Grizzlies at least have quite a few guys that can really scare you offensively between Jaren Jackson and and Desmond Bane. So I expect them to win tonight, and maybe I'm a little harsh on saying sweep. Maybe, like you said, it does go 5, but I'll stick with
gentleman's sweep.
Yeah, I'll go gentleman's sweep.
Yeah. All right, man. This next series I think is going to be good. We got the Warriors and the Rockets, just for a lot of reasons, because you're going to have the Dylan Brooks, the Draymond Green story. The Rockets gave the Warriors trouble during the regular season, and that young guy, Amen Thompson, gave
Amen Thompson. Yeah,
I'm sorry. Excuse me, Amen Thompson gave Steph Curry fits during the regular season.
He got held in 3 points not too long ago.
Yeah. So I think this is going to be a really good series. I'm really interested to see who you think wins and how many games. You may be shocked at what I'm going to say, but I think this is going to be a great series. But I just want to get your thoughts on it.
This one's tough, man. This one's tough. I'm going to go with the Warriors, though.
Okay.
Why? So this kind of reminds me of remember a couple of years ago when the Kings were the 3 seed?
Bro, that's what I was just going to say on my next one. The same thing. But go ahead. I was about to say this. You just took my thing away. Yeah. I was going to say the same thing, but go ahead.
Yeah, this reminds me a lot of that. Like, I'm not saying the Rockets and the Kings are like identical rosters or anything. It's just like this new, like, surprise young team, kind of new to the playoff, the atmosphere of the playoffs, versus a veteran team who's been through battles. Every player, whether it's Draymond, Steph, Butler, they've all been through battles, Right. And I just think this is where veteran leadership is so important when it comes to, especially as early, even the first round, man, because like the Rockets, I like Jalen Green, I like Amen Thompson, like I like some of these guys, but they haven't really experienced this before, man. So I'm gonna go with the Rockets. I think it's a 6-game series, maybe even 7. I'm sorry, I said the Rockets. I'm gonna go with the Warriors. I think it's a 6 or 7 game series. I just think ultimately, it took that personally. And I think, like Jordan said, I took it personally. But I think
Steph took everything personally, though.
He sure did.
Yeah.
But I think Steph took it personally that people saw that he had probably the worst game of his career not that long ago. And Butler, we know what Butler can do when the lights are bright, man.
Play out Jimmy.
Play out Jimmy. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with the Warriors, but I think I think it doesn't mean the Rockets didn't have a great year. They're just not quite there yet.
Yeah, so you took all the words right out of my mouth. I was going to use that same example of what the Warriors did to the Kings a couple years ago. I see this series going 7, but the Warriors winning in 7.
Like the Warriors too?
Okay. Yeah, I think it's going to go exactly how that Sacramento series went. I think you're going to see all the home teams win. They win their home team up until Game 7, and then you'll see that veteran, like you said, Steph, the playoff Jimmy, even Draymond, kind of come up and say, hey, you guys are still kind of young. We're the vets here. We know how to do this. Man. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think I like the Warriors in 7. It's going to be a great series, though. I think it's going to be one of the most entertaining series, of the first round. But I'm with you, man. I think the Warriors pull it out in 7.
Yeah, same.
So, yeah. All right, man. We're going to go to your next matchup. Your boys. That's right. We got the Timberwolves and the Lakers. Yeah, obviously, let's get your thoughts. How many games, predictions? Who are the X factors? Do you think anybody besides Ant will give the Lakers trouble? I see your answer already.
I just don't. Like, I don't see how people could look at this series and be like, oh, I think the Timberwolves win it. Like, I just don't think they're deep enough. I just don't. Like, not offensively. Ant can drop 40 a game. We know he's that talented.
Which I think not 40. I think he's going to average at least 30. That's just me. I think
he probably will. He's super talented.
And before you say anything, there's reports that are saying that the Lakers' kind of strategy is to let Ant kind of just get his and really just shut down everybody else.
Yeah, because, like, I'm not scared of Julius Randle, bro. I'm sorry. I'm not. This was not disrespect to Julius Randle, but, like, if he's your most dependent, other scorer, like, I'm not going to say Yeah, like Rudy Gobert. Although Rudy Gobert's been playing really well over the last month or so, man. He's
always going to be
really
good defensively. We know that.
Yeah,
he's always going to be good defensively. Yeah.
Yeah, but Naz Reid is also going to be somebody you have to deal with. He's not going to drop 35.
No.
He's a guy that can come in there, be very scrappy, and get and score very important points for you. But bro, you have to deal with the factor that Luka loves to torch the Wolves. They just can't defend him. So you have Luka, then you have LeBron, who can kind of, he doesn't have to go full gear offensively, so he can be more of a distributor, or like if he won't be as exhausted offensively, so like we still know if you need him to score, he can do that. You got Reeves, who had a really good year, 20 points per game. He's one of the key guys too, and even Rui Hachimura, who's been just shooting the ball really well recently. So I just think there's too many guys they have to worry about, and I think there's only one consistent offensive threat on the Wolves. Lakers in 5, man. I don't think they have too much trouble in this series. I don't.
You're doing the Shannon.
Lakers in 5.
Yeah, I ain't gonna do the rhymes that he does, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they have too much trouble.
I'm with you, man. I mean, again, and not more I have to say. Same thing. I think Lakers in 5, as Shannon says.
Right.
Yeah, I think the Wolves get a game. I think Ant's going to average, probably 30. Even though I will say they played Ant during the season. I think he only averaged like 19 points against them when they played. So they defended him very well. But this is obviously a playoff series. Not regular season is different because you're playing, back-to-backs or whatever. So I mean, it's more concentrated. So I think Ant would definitely at least get close to averaging 30 in this series. They're going to probably let him do his thing. But you're right. The key is like not letting Julius Randle go off, which I think he won't.
No,
while Gobert is a great defender, I mean, he's really less to be desired offensively. I do like Naz Reid. Even I like Mike Conley, who's a vet, who plays well. Can give you 15 a game, good defender, but that's still not going to be enough. Like you said, it's just too much to worry about. Luka, Bron, Reed, Rui.
Too much, man.
It's just a little too much. So, I like Lakers in 5. I think we're on the same page with this one.
And you know what's, look, we don't have to revisit the trade. I just don't think it was a good trade, man. Now in hindsight, right?
Right.
I didn't love it when it happened, though. I didn't love trading Cat. And also, unfortunately, DiVincenzo just hasn't really panned out. Because DiVincenzo on the Knicks hit some big shots in the playoffs last year, was averaging, close to 16 a game. That's dropped to around the 10, 11-ish. So, that's pretty significant to drop 5 or 6 points per game. He just hasn't been consistent. I just don't see a scenario where somebody else besides Ant is going to really be, I'm not saying Julius he's not a scrub, of course.
Right.
He can be 25 or 20.
But I think that's still not going to be enough. Let's just say for the sake of argument, Ant averages 30 and Julius averages 25. Like he gets 25. That's still not going to be. So who else is going to give you that other points? You don't have anybody else. That's the problem.
And Ant's not the most explosive offensive player on the court. It's Luka.
It's Luka. Right.
So Luka, you have the scoring advantage with Luka, and LeBron is not the scorer that Anthony Edwards is, but he's not far off. He's like a point or two off. And then, like I said, you still have the Reeves factor. They don't even have anybody that can give you the 20 points per game Reeves is giving you. So
exactly.
I who knows, man? The Lakers can be very inconsistent, but I do. It's early, but I do think the Lakers are pretty well coached.
Right. So I was going to say you that the only way I see, and they won't even lose the series. I can see the Lakers maybe blowing 2 games. Is that they have one game where they just don't play well.
Yeah, they don't show. They don't
shoot
like Luka's cold.
They're not defending that. I mean, obviously, look, we this is not breaking news. We're all going to be concerned about Luka's D going forward into the playoffs.
Yeah,
because some of those teams are looking forward to seeing Luka on the defensive end. And let's just say, I know I'm kind of pushing ahead a little too far, but when we get to the finals, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are waiting. They are licking their chops if they see Luka guarding them because
Luka's advantage is Luka reminds me of some of those NFL teams that they're really bad on defense, but they got a great O.
Exactly.
Those teams can get you far at times. Like, the O is nice, but.
Right.
Yeah. Right. My only thing with Luka, look, he's never going to be a great defender. He may never be a good defender. I need effort. I need effort, and he's been putting in more effort with the Lakers. He has. So I like the Lakers here.
Sure.
You also 5 as well. 5.
Yeah, I'm 5. Yeah, like Shannon said, 5. Yeah, we got him in 5. But all right, the last series of the West. I think this is going to be another great matchup. We got the Clippers and the Nuggets.
Ooh.
4-5 matchup.
This is the best series in the playoffs.
I think so. Yeah. I'm going to say before you get to your pick, I'm going to at least say it's going 7 before I get my prediction.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's going 7. But the Clippers have been playing great as of late, especially the end of the season. Obviously, we ain't got to touch on the Nuggets of what's been going on with them. Kind of similar with the Grizzlies. You know, I'm not going to, like I said, repeat what we kind of already have been talking about in past shows. But, yeah, man, give me your prediction, how many games and why. And, yeah, man, but I agree with you. I think this is going to be one of the best series in the playoffs.
I'm going to go Clippers. I might regret this. Okay. I'm going to go Clippers. I'm going to say probably 7. I think it's a long series. I know, right? I think for me, Jamal Murray's back, which is good. He was out for a little bit. And then they have that championship pedigree, you know. Harden's been playing well, man. Harden's been playing well, and I think Harden's playing with a chip on his shoulder, and Kawhi is looking like prime Kawhi recently. He looks great. Norman Powell, Zubac, like they've just got a lot of guys on that starting lineup that can really give you issues offensively. Kawhi is still good defensively. I think the Nuggets, to me, one, defensively, they're not very good. Even though you can argue the best player in the world ain't going to really, he averages less than a block a game. He ain't going to really do. But I do think Jokic offensively is going to have a monster series. But he's Jokic. That's what he does. So, yeah, I feel like there's going to be very high scoring games. There's going to be like a lot of like 137 to 130 with no overtime.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm going to go with the Clippers, man. I think the Clippers are a tough out, man. I think the Clippers are a sleeper to even get to the conference finals. I really do. I'm high on the Clippers. And the Clippers are really well coached, man. I think Ty Lue's a really good coach. So, yeah, I'll go Clippers, man. I think the Clippers pull off I guess it's a minor upset. It's a 4 versus a 5. So
minor.
Yeah, I don't know if upset's the right word, but yeah, I'll go Clippers, man. What about you?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think it goes 7. I like the Clippers in 7. The only thing that does concern me about the Clippers is their size. Because Zubac's really the only big they have. Yeah. And let's say he gets in early foul trouble. Jokic is going to go nuts. And then you still have Michael Porter Jr. You still have Aaron Gordon. So they're size-wise, the Nuggets do have the advantage. But but you're right. They're not a great defensive team. And I just can't see them turning it on in the playoffs. So
and they don't have a great bench.
They don't. And that's what I was going to say. No. So the thing concerning me with the Nuggets is they're just not very deep. When you get out that starting lineup.
All about the starting lineup.
It's really all about the starting lineup. And I think the Clippers, the Clippers are not deep as well. Not that, but they're deeper than the Nuggets are. So, yeah, like I said, man, I'm with you. I think Clippers in 7. Like you said, Harden's been balling. He was an all-star this year. Kawhi looks like that old Kawhi. Knock on wood that he stays healthy. Norman Powell's been pretty consistent all year. I'm giving you 24 a game. Zubac, like I said, he's going to be the key because I feel like if he gets in early foul trouble and they have to sit him, Jokic is going to have his way because the Clippers don't have the size. So it's going to be a lot of small ball, but they can still win that way. You know what I mean?
Small ball is not always like a bad thing.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. It just concerns me because, like I said, because they don't have the size, even outside of Jokic. Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr., they're like 6'9", 6'10", so they have the size. Yeah. So that's the only way I can see the Nuggets winning the series is just because they may out rebound them, and like you said, the starting line is going to have to play heavy minutes. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just don't see how the Nuggets, with no bench and they're not good defensively, win this series against a team that's been, especially playing. They're playing well at the right time. We always talk about teams playing well at the end of the year, no matter what the sport is, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, that team that's kind of surging in the end of the year, that's why it's no surprise when you see them kind of go far. And I'm with you. They're definitely capable of going to the Western Conference Final. Yeah. And like you said, they're very well coached. I've always been a Ty Lue guy. But I'm with you. I think Clippers win in 7.
Yeah. I'm excited though, man. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch some of these series.
No doubt. Now, before we get out of here, man, oh boy, I
think I know where you're going.
Yeah. We're switching gears here. I'm gonna be like Peter. This is what really grinds my gears.
What grinds your gears, man?
Yo, you know what? No, I'm not gonna insult you by saying that's your boy. Aaron Rodgers was on Pat McAfee today.
Oh boy!
And of course, we're all waiting to see what the hell he's gonna do. Why I do not know. Off a 41-year-old quarterback, but I don't get it. But whatever, this is what it is. So he made some comments on Pat McAfee, and Pat McAfee asked him where he was in his decision process, and apparently he says that he's not holding teams hostage, that he hasn't made a decision yet, and basically it's not about the money. He would play for $10 million, which I think is BS. I don't believe him on that.
Let's see, since the Steelers offered him more than that, but anyway.
Yeah, I'm not even getting like I said, it's BS. But he's saying that he's met with all these teams, that they know where he's at in the process. He hasn't led them on, or he's not holding them hostage. Like I said, I call BS because first of all, he's in the same breath as he said that, he says, "Oh well, I am still considering retirement." Okay, dude. So which one do you want to do here? Do you want to play or do you want to retire? Like, you've had months. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I get this is a big life decision. We all have big life decisions to make, but it doesn't take you 6 months and all that to make a decision. Like, the NFL ended in February. We're almost 3 months of the NFL ending. So you're telling me in the last 3 months you had no idea what you're gonna do? Like, you're waking up every day like, I don't know. No, you should know by now. The draft is next week. You're holding the Steelers hostage because now, if I'm the Steelers, I'm just going to be honest with you, Kwab, and you obviously, once I finish, you can answer. You can get into your spiel. But to me, the Steelers should just go ahead and try to draft a quarterback because this is getting ridiculous. Like, a 41-year-old quarterback should not be holding one of the most prestigious franchises in sports hostage to see if he's going to play or not. I'm sorry. Go ahead and just try to draft a quarterback. Try to develop him. I know obviously Mason Rudolph's not the answer, but at least, you got somebody who's familiar with the offense, familiar with the team, with the concepts, who's been there before. Maybe whoever you draft can learn from them and then maybe eventually be the starter. But I'm sorry. Like, if I'm the Steelers, I'm out at this point. Even after hearing that, I'm out. So, and I'll get your thoughts now.
Yeah, and he went on to say that he's been in communication with Mike Tomlin, and he even told the Steelers, like, look, if you need to move on, I understand. So, like, I think one thing about Rodgers, he loves the attention, right? He wants to be in the news all the time because
he claims he doesn't. He said in that same interview, he was like, "Oh no, people think I'm this guy that I leak stuff and I want the attention." No, you do, bro. Like, I call BS. You do. You're on the Pat McAfee show. For God's sakes, every week who's doing that?
Call BS on that. I just think the Steelers should just say, hey, we've decided to move on. But the Steelers, I put a lot of blame on the Steelers for this. Like, you had 2 quarterbacks on the roster. I'm not saying either of them are like leading you to a Super Bowl.
Right.
But you at least had 2 guys that could potentially lead you back to the playoffs. You could build around, particularly a younger Justin Fields, who I do think is a bit limited, but I still think he's a good young athlete. With Rodgers, you put yourself in a spot where you're waiting on a 41-year-old quarterback. I mean, what are we doing here? A 41-year-old quarterback who's way past his prime at that.
Yeah, wasn't that good last year? I'm sorry.
A lot of those. You look at his stats, you're like, oh, but if you look a little deeper,
no, we watched those games. You remember?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you remember. So, yeah, he went on to say, oh, like you said, I'd play for $10 million. It's not about the money. I think the money is more of a factor than he might be leading on to say. And the Steelers did offer him more than $10 million, but then there were reports saying he wanted more. All of a sudden, I would pay for $10 million. Then he was also saying stuff like, "Oh, I'm in a relationship now." Well, a lot of athletes are. You're not. You got a girl. You're not married. You don't have kids. Like, what, you have a girl? Like, that's I got a girl now. So like,
okay. Well, there's a lot of guys that were married. Well, first of all, we think is the best quarterback in the league is married with like 2 kids. So is that holding him back?
But you're
holding me back.
You're just in a relationship. You have a girlfriend. You ain't married. You got you ain't planning a wedding. Like, what are you talking about?
I'm a girl now. What is that?
I'm in a relationship now. And then he was like, "Oh, a lot of people I know, I personally am close with, have a lot going on." It's like, what does that have to do with you playing football? Just retire. Just go.
Yeah, I'm
Hall of Famer. You're one of the greatest ever.
Yeah.
Just be like, yo, I'm out. I'm like, all right, cool, man. You had a great career. One of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen, D. There's no disrespect to Rodgers.
Right.
He's a top 10.
I agree. Top 10 quarterback. Yeah.
It's just like,
yeah, bro. Like I said in my beginning of my speech, I just draft a quarterback. You don't have to do it in the first round. Get somebody in the second round that you at least think you're high on. You could develop. I think the Steelers are patient enough and willing to develop somebody. just draft somebody. There's a lot of good projects in this draft. Now, they're not first round quarterbacks, but they're guys that you can develop. And who knows? I mean, listen, man, the Russell Wilson was a third round pick. Dak was a fourth round pick. We've seen it. Heck, the GOAT was a 6th round pick. So you listen, you never know. Like even you second, third round, you draft a quarterback. Who knows? You don't know what that guy can be. So if I'm you guys, just draft a quarterback. Like I think you had said it a few shows ago. Like, start Mason Rudolph. Let him, be the guy. He knows the system. He's been there before. He knows the personnel. Yeah. He knows Mike Tomlin.
They'll win 8 or 9 games like they usually do.
Exactly. You're gonna have a good defense.
Yeah.
Let Mason start. Bring on if you draft a quarterback, bring on the backup, the rookie slowly. If you see some promise, if you see some stuff, throw him in there. If not, go with Mason Rudolph for the year. And then I know no fan wants to hear about it's like a wasted year. Like, okay, we'll see what happens next year because we haven't got to this year yet. But yeah, I mean, if I'm you, look, go with Mason Rudolph. Who knows? You still maybe sneak in as a 7th seed. You have a good defense. I'm not saying there's gonna be a playoff win in there, but you get the playoffs. And then let's see what the rookie, that next year can do. If you're developing him the right way. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Honestly, I'm okay with them waiting for a quarterback next year too. Like, don't force it.
Gotcha.
Like the quarterback's probably not going to play this year anyway. Like,
right.
Yeah, next year, the 2026 class is supposed to be a lot deeper than this year because after Cam Ward and Shador, who's kind of falling on a lot of draft charts, between those two, you have your Jackson Darts. There's always these guys that they're trying to like.
I know Jalen Milroe, right?
Who, people think he's just okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So if I'm the Steelers, I'm okay waiting until next year as well. It sucks that they why not just re-sign Russell Wilson? Or especially once Justin Fields went to the Jets. Like, go back, run it back with him. I'm not saying you would have been a contender, but you're the same team whether you have Rodgers or Russell Wilson, and I don't know. They're an 8 or 9 win team. I don't. But as a fan, it's always hard to say this, but they kind of need to bottom out. Like it happened when they got Big Ben. They went 6-10. They got Big Ben.
Right.
Gave you 20 years, and 15 of those 20 years were great. The other ones were kind of spotty. But
yeah, I got you.
Yeah, and it sucks because you don't want to root against your team. I never want to root for the Steelers to fail, but they're gonna have to do something different, man. And I just think although their newer GM Omar Khan, he's been their GM for 3 seasons now, going on to his 3rd year. He can be a bit aggressive in free agency. We've seen him pick up DK Metcalf, obviously, but I don't know, man. I just feel like they just haven't got the quarterback situation right.
Yeah, you said a key thing. I may agree with you yet. Yeah, maybe also right. Don't force to get a quarterback this year.
Yeah, you don't have to force it.
If you're good with Mason Rudolph and then just having the defense kind of be what they've been for the last 5 years, and just him being like a game manager, you know what I mean? I'm sure now. I have a feeling if you're not going to get quarterback, you're probably going to address the running back situation. You'll probably get a running back.
Yeah, that's a deep.
There's a lot of good running backs in this draft.
Yeah, you can draft one in the 3rd round, 4th round.
Exactly. It's a really good running back draft. So I can see you guys getting a decent running back and just saying, all right, look, we're going to run the ball a lot, throw when we have to, when it's 3rd down and manageable throw, but you just run the ball and play good D. I mean, I see that happening again. But
best case scenario is that Rudolph has a Darnold kind of season. Oh snap! He actually looks all right.
Where was he at? Where was he at last year?
He was on the Titans last year.
Okay, as a backup.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Levis ain't the dude. So.
No, yeah.
He came in spots for Levis. He looked okay. I mean, look, I don't think Mason Rudolph is a starter.
No. I think he's a good backup.
He's a good backup for sure.
He's a good.
That's
backup.
what he needs to be on the Steelers, but they're over here waiting on Rodgers.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean,
I wish we had Dak right now. I know y'all.
There was this. So there was I don't know what the source was, but I was on X, and basically they had proposed a trade, which I thought was kind of intriguing, and it was Dak and Micah for J.J. Watt, and I think 2 first-round picks.
J.J. Watt, yep.
I'm sorry.
I thought you proposed that. I thought that was your trade.
No, so originally the proposal was I will say I kind of added to that. Originally, I think the proposal was T.J. Watt and Micah straight up, but then I said to soften to add to kind of get a little more flavor to the deal. you add Dak, and we would get 2 first-round picks. So we give you Micah and Dak, and you give us TJ and 2 first-round picks. Now, I think the Steelers wouldn't do it because I think giving up those 2 first-round picks would be tough for them to do. I guess they maybe giving up one, saying, all right, we'll give you one of them, but we're not giving you 2.
Well, okay, what do you think Dak's value is, too, is the key?
Yeah, I think he's worth 2 first-round picks for what he makes.
Dak's worth 2 first-round picks?
I think he is, yeah. Because
I'm talking about based off his play on the field. You think he's worth 2?
Oh, his play on the field?
Yeah. Do you think
he's probably worth 1 and maybe like a second or third? So he's definitely worth 1 first-round pick. I'm not giving you like a second round and a third rounder for Dak, and then be like, oh yeah, I'm good with that. No, you're gonna give me.
No, you said a few times.
I have to replace that. I have to replace Dak.
But you said a few times you think Dak is past his prime.
He is,
and Dak is coming off a pretty significant injury.
Mm-hmm.
And Dak is what, 30? Help me out, 31.
He'll be 31 this year.
31.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to put a value on Dak because I think
he's at least worth 1 first round pick. Because my thing is, if I'm the Cowboys, you at least want to replace him, right? Like draft a quarterback, like because obviously we're giving you Micah, we get TJ. That's fair. You know what I mean? We're just swapping.
Although TJ is significantly, I don't say significant, but he's older than Micah. I'm not sure if I'm the Cowboys if that's like, you can argue TJ's the better player now, but like,
right.
I don't know, man. Right, Micah's what, 6 years younger?
Let's be real. You know how we think and how Jerry's a now guy. He's not a let's think about 5 years down the road. He's a now guy. So we would want TJ now, him productive now. We'll worry about when he kind of starts to slow down, because listen, the thing, you know how Jerry, he'll work out a deal where, all right, for now we're gonna give you this.
Mm-hmm.
You get down the road, we'll come to that. And you know how they are when it comes to contracts. But I'm just saying, if I'm the Cowboys and we give you Dak, because you need a quarterback, and I'm sure Pittsburgh would be happy if they got Dak.
Mm-hmm.
By what you have now, I think he's at least worth 1 first round pick. I'm not saying 2. Mm-hmm. I said that because I was just saying, I think knowing the Cowboys, they're probably going to be like, I need 2 first round picks. You know what I mean?
I don't know if a team is going to give that up.
Right. I can see them giving up 1 because it's like, we're just, because the Cowboys are going to expect, okay, you're giving us a 1 for us to draft another quarterback. Because think about it. You give us a 1, then we'll probably have 2 first round picks in one of the years, right? So we'll use 1 for a quarterback and 1 for who knows, whatever we need, right? So I think that's fair. Even if you take away the second first round pick, I think Dak is at least worth a 1. At least worth 1.
But you're still happy with Dak as your QB?
I mean, I have to be right. I mean, the man's about to make $60-some million.
Whether you have to be or not, but are you cool with him being your guy?
Not really, because I feel like we're going to be the same team now. We may be 1 or 2 games better than we were last year, which is maybe sneaks us into the play. I guess it's like a 7 seed, but we're not like, if you're talking about Super Bowl and we're gonna go to the NFC Championship game. No, I think we're probably either the last playoff team in or that last 2 playoff teams out kind of thing. Mm. You know what I mean? We're 7, even with Dak. I think we're a 7-8 win team, maybe 9. You can maybe push it to 9 if you want to. Like I said, we get 9, maybe you sneak in the playoffs, but we're not a Super Bowl team. No, now with how the roster is currently constructed now, no.
And I think with that reason, I don't know if I would if Dak's value. That's why it's hard to judge Dak's value. Mm-hmm. Like, do you think he is a franchise changer at the moment? Because I think a lot of people would assume that a first round pick is a franchise changer. Like, you can come in, like if you're giving up a first round pick, especially if it's a high pick, that means you think a quarterback. That means you think the quarterback can come in and like take you over the hump. Now, do I think the Steelers would be good with Dak? I do. I because they haven't had anything at quarterback.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm just going off your perspective, right? You've had Kenny Pickett, you've had Justin Fields. Now Russell Wilson wasn't bad. So I think Dak can do a little, either just as good or a little better than what Russell can do.
Better. Yeah, he's a better quarterback.
And then you're giving Dak a top 5 defense. Like,
he has 2 talented receivers.
Exactly. I'm just going off what you already have. So you're telling, okay, Dak, you come in, you got DK Metcalf, you got Pickens on the other side. You're probably going to draft a running back. I know you still got Warren, but we're probably going to draft a young running back, right? You have a top 5 defense. Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm going to be real with you. You could at least win a playoff game with that. I'm not saying y'all going to go to the AFC Championship game, but y'all can win a playoff game with Dak as your quarterback with a good defense. Yeah.
What do you think the Steelers would do with Rodgers if he does sign with them? Kind of what they did last year, if he does, kind of what they did last year, one and done in the playoffs. If they sign Rodgers,
yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be real. I mean, y'all are borderline even making the playoffs because I mean, you saw what he did with the Jets, and I mean, yeah, like as far as talent wise, did he have the talent you guys had? Maybe not. He had some talent, but you know what I mean.
I think the Jets lack talent.
No, because he had a good running back, he had a good receiver. Now he didn't have the second receiver.
Well, remember they got Devontae for him.
Oh, that's true. They did. That's right. And he still
they got his guy. He had Devontae and Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall.
Right. So
the whole line was terrible. So, but
you guys are probably either this. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I think Russell Wilson is better than him at this point.
Yeah.
So, like I said, you might be even a little like a game or two worse with him. You know what I mean? But with Dak, I think you're at least a game or two better and can win a playoff series. You know, you would make the playoffs and win a playoff game. Now, after that, I don't know. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? But yeah, Dak can definitely come in because I like Dak is surrounded by good coaches, a good culture. Tomlin's a great coach. You know, Arthur Smith, I like you guys as an OC. Like you say, he has two talented receivers. You're going to probably get a good rookie running back. You know, if let's say Micah was to come there, you got Micah to replace TJ, who's younger.
We're talking about this like it's actually.
I know. Now Micah to replace TJ, who's younger. Yeah. So I mean, listen. Yeah, I think if you got Dak, you guys will be fine. You know, you'd be good. I'm not saying Super Bowl team, but you'll be a playoff team for sure.
If you could have any quarterback in the NFL right now to be on the Cowboys, would it still be Mahomes?
Yeah, for sure. I still think he's the best. I mean, I know he lost last year to Jalen Hurts. But he's the one I trust the most, you know, out of everybody still. You know, I mean, Jalen, what he did last year was great. But remember, Jalen wasn't great in the regular season. He was great in the playoffs. Okay. Yeah, he wasn't great in the regular season. So, like, Mahomes is good in the regular season and in the playoffs. So, yeah, I'll still take Mahomes.
It'd be kind of dope to see y'all with, like, a Josh Allen. That'd be nice. Y'all be good.
Yeah, we haven't had that since Aikman. You know what I mean? And Aikman wasn't great. I mean, his numbers weren't great.
But you haven't had what since Aikman?
Like, that kind of quarterback.
Oh, I mean, you've had some good quarterbacks. I mean, Romo was good.
Romo, yeah. But I mean, Aikman was better than Romo. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, we haven't had somebody like that.
An elite quarterback.
Say it again.
You're talking about like elite, like one of the best.
Like an elite, right? Yeah, like if we had a Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, we're at least going to NFC Championship games.
Yeah,
right, Burrow. Yeah, I don't know. And I'm not saying we're going to win the Super Bowl, but we at least be going to NFC Championship game, which I would be totally fine with.
That's all you want.
Like great. We're going. At least we know. Okay, we can go to NFC Championship games. But damn, we can't even do that. You know what I mean?
I honestly, if y'all got worked in a title game, I don't even think you'd just be like, whatever, we made it.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. It's remember that year when we beat the Eagles and we finally got over like won a playoff game
to the Vikings,
and we lost to the Vikings. That's why I didn't really care. I was like, okay, I just wanted to win the playoff game. I was like, great, at least we got that out the way.
Yeah.
Now I just want to see them get to an NFC Championship game. Yeah, if we got worked in an NFC Championship game, I'm like, oh, that's cool. At least we got there.
Yeah.
So.
I love it. I love talking Cowboys.
Yeah, man. But so we're gonna be taking a little hiatus, probably for a few weeks. We'll be back in a few weeks. Yeah, we'll probably preview the conference finals once we get to that point. But once again, Kwab, congratulations on your move.
Yeah, next time my background will be like the Hollywood sign or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you'll be doing the show from LA. I'll still be here in DC. It'll be a time difference, but we'll definitely work it out.
Make it work. Stay tuned. We'll still be posting a lot of stuff on our social media.
Yes, content-wise, you'll see daily content from us. All the big sports stories, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, any big sports story, really, we'll post on our story. So definitely always, daily check that out. But yeah, man, we'll do it again in a few weeks.
Man. Conference finals. Hopefully, I'm talking Lakers or a series away. Hopefully, they weren't one and done. Like they got swept by the Wolves.
Nah, I don't see that. I think the Lakers can at least go to the conference finals. That's me.
Yeah. That to me is where I think they'll go to. That'll probably end. I hope I'm wrong, but we'll see.
Because if you guys win, you guys are the third seed, so you would play. The second seed is the. Right. So we had the Warriors one, so you'd play the Warriors. Yeah. So I think you guys, because I think even if the Warriors win that series, I think you guys can beat the Warriors in the next round.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
we'll see, man. Anything can happen.
That's for sure. All right, man. We'll do it again in a few weeks. Peace.